wouldn't it be amazing if someone picked up the phone and said, "Hi, Mr. Ball, you filled in our online enrollment form. We understand you've got a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old that love rugby and netball." I'm blown away by that, because not only have I filled in a form, they read it. That school is already higher in my estimations than maybe the one next door, who's just gone, "Hi, Mr. Ball, when can you come for a tour?" We don't want to be mystery to our clients. We want to get to know the school team. We want to help them get better and be more efficient. We don't just sort of send a report and go, "Right, there you go. Good luck with the next one." It's bridging that gap to work out. I think that's where Cognita liked what we were doing. It's almost stripping it completely back and saying, how do you speak to people? And then how can you identify what that person likes? Let's do a little bit more work potentially in the background. You'll end up with more people in the classroom because, hey, that admissions person was amazing. I'm going to go to that school.
Hi, I'm Chris Shrubsole and welcome to School Talk, the podcast where we have meaningful conversations about education, learning, and those issues that matter most to students, to parents, and to teachers. With over 10 years experience in international schools, I've seen firsthand the challenges, but also the opportunities in learning today. Each week, I'll sit down with inspiring guests to share stories, insights, and strategies on how we can help shape the future of education. Whether you're here to grow, to learn, or to spark change, this is the place for you. So let's get started. Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of School Talk. This week, I'm joined by Mark Ball, the partner of 59 Club MAE. So first of all, thank you for coming on the pod.
Thanks, Chris, for having me. Thank you.
And today we're going to talk about what 59 Club is, how you link to education, your journey so far. So kick us off. What do you do? Who are you? Go from there.
Good morning, Chris. Thanks for having me. So as Chris was saying, my name is Mark. Sort of been in the Middle East or linked to the Middle East for 23 years. Golf professional by trade. Worked in the golf industry from 2003 to 2016 over here. Then thought that we'd had enough of the Middle East. So we headed back to the UK, to Wales. A little bit different going from Dubai to Wales. Left all our sort of friends and family here. That lasted a couple of years because we missed the desert too much, as a couple of other contacts and friends have returned. And we came back, me and my wife Sally came back with the franchise of a business called 59 Club. Primarily mystery shopping business in hospitality, specifically in the golf industry, obviously hence where my link was. I've actually got tested by 59 Club over here at Jumeirah Golf Estates where I worked, and then back at the venue I worked at in Wales, Celtic Manor Resort. So obviously got to know the industry, got to know the business from that side. Really enjoyed it and used it as a vehicle to sort of head back and start our own business back up over here.
Okay, and I nodded along like I didn't know you played golf. Obviously, we played golf before, but in terms of mystery shopping, what is mystery shopping?
It's kind of, I'd like to think we've kind of tried to sort of push the needle in terms of the mystery shopping and what it means. When I first heard the phrase mystery shopping from a client side, or as a client of 59 Club or as a mystery shopping client, there was an eye roll that would go around in the room and it would be, oh no, they're coming in to tell us where we're bad and where we need to get better and how we're not very good at our jobs. However, so working with 59 Club since 2019, since 2018 that I have, it's clear that they want to focus on strengths and they want to identify the strengths of people and the strengths of processes and various attitudes that are going on and facility standards, should we say. How good golf clubs look, how good hotels are presented, how well spas are presented, how well individuals and staff are presented. So mystery shopping from our point of view is sort of pulling the curtain back for showing what's going on behind the curtain to an operator, but then helping the what I call the foot soldiers on the ground, people that provide the service, helping them understand what it is and helping them understand what industry standard is. And then making them better as individuals, which ultimately, from an owner operator's point of view, makes the whole operation better and more successful.
So you touched there on the owner, the operator. They would come to you initially with a brief saying, we want to improve this part of our business, or sometimes they don't know what they want to improve.
Exactly that. So sometimes they wouldn't even know where they like the idea of mystery shopping. They like the idea that they want to see how their team are doing when things are busy, when things are quiet. But a lot of other sort of businesses that maybe mystery shop or people that do it privately they've maybe already have a relationship with the operator or the general manager, so they're already going in with a preconceived idea of what that general manager wants to know.
Yeah.
We would be completely open and honest with the owner operator or with the team that sort of brought us in to say, look, let us go in and draw a line in the sand. Okay, we'll show you where you are today, and then we're not going to leave you alone. We'll help you identify where you're good and identify where you're bad.
Yeah.
Or where you can develop. I don't like using the word bad. Where you can develop, and then we'll get to know your team and your managers to help them get better and understand the criteria that we work to.
Yeah,
and then dangle some rewards. So the 59 Club mantra is kind of broken down into 4. You've got measure, train, support, and reward. So we'll take our venues and our clients on that journey from a completely blind trial. So general managers they would ask us to come on board and do a test without telling anyone in their team, which is a brave move.
Yeah.
Okay. But then we would then go in and present the results to the board and their team and say, hey, we've done this just to show you where you are. No, there's not going to be any judgment happening. Yeah. It's going to show you where you are, and then we're going to take you on that journey to get you better. So that's where the training support comes in. And then at the end of that annual year or the end of that period of testing, we'll do a reward. We'll help the venues create a reward system to get people better. Because ultimately, if they can see that their individuals are getting better, then it's worth working with the 59
for sure. Yeah. So I've done testing for you before, and some of the testing has been like pay with cash at golf clubs. And from a testing point of view, going in there, you kind of want the person to do well, because you have that. I've never met the person before. We'll probably never meet them again.
Yep.
But when you go in there and you're expected to fill out this form afterwards, you have this, well, I did anyway, this kind of personal responsibility that you want them to do the right thing so you can report back.
Yep.
Instances where it doesn't go well. Like I was lucky that everyone did exactly what they should. The forms to fill out were easy because everyone was right.
Yeah. The key to sort of our mystery shopping, or the key to any sort of successful mystery shopping business and criteria and reporting is to make sure it's objective. So you imagine if you went and played golf at a golf club today, you might 24 hours later you receive a guest satisfaction survey. That's directly to you and your three friends that you've played golf with. That survey would result in subjective feedback based on your own individual thoughts, their feelings, and your own expectations for what's good and what's bad. Okay, we remove that element from our mystery shopping reporting. So what we do is we don't just provide the questions to the tester, so yourselves and the guys that we work with for testers. We give them the question, but then we also give them parameters and the criteria and the guidance notes with which to answer that question. So we actually remove anywhere. We vet every report that comes back to us internally within our team before it goes to the client. So what that means is anywhere where we see, I thought this, we thought that, it wasn't as good as last time, it was better than the golf club down the road, it was better than the spa up the road.
Yeah.
That's subjective, okay? Our clients can't do anything with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has to be objective feedback. So we've not only written the questions, we've written the criteria with which to answer it. So that might be a 10, 7, 5, 3, 0 breakdown with certain parameters alongside it. And that's kind of the reason quite a lot of our clients like working with us, because we remove that subjectivity. And then they can benchmark across the various industries that we work with.
Yeah. And you say there are various industries. You started with golf, you've gone into hospitality, and now moving into education as well?
So it's the business started sort of 15 years ago in the golf industry. As that's evolved, it's at the end of the day, it's customer service. Yeah, it's transferable. Whether you're going into a golf club environment, a spa, a hotel, or a school, there has to be a certain amount of customer service that's there. So
it's very different here compared to the UK, where pretty much every school that we come in contact with is a business. There's a service, you're customer facing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of where we've seen sort of our business in Dubai and the UAE here is a franchise business. So we've got 9 other businesses around the world, 9 other offices. And we're limited in this part of the world to the number of golf courses that we've got. So post-COVID, we've had to sort of look at our operation and go, right, where else can we attack? And obviously the low-hanging fruit here is the hospitality industry. So lots of hotels, lots of spas, lots of health clubs, and schools. And we've sort of identified some very sort of similarities between walking into a golf club, meeting someone behind the reception desk, meeting someone on the golf course, meeting someone in the pro shop. That customer-facing interaction has to be there. There has to be positive staff attitude. There has to be clean facilities. There has to be an opportunity to upsell to a member of staff, to a client or a guest. But what that means is it's also a very competitive market. So all of the golf clubs in this part of the region, as a lot of people will know, are amazing facilities. They're amazing courses. So it's very competitive in a very small location, in a very small sort of area, similar to schools. So we sort of did a couple of trials. My wife's background is a little bit in schools as well. So she's worked as a PRE before. So she understands what a parent or what a child might be looking for from a school tour.
Yeah.
And it's getting to know that parent, that person. And the key, the important thing over here to recognize is that you could drive down Sakim Street, you could drive down Shakeside Road, and you could be seeing 6 schools in a day. Now, all the facilities are amazing in all these schools. So what's going to set that school apart from the one next door? And that might well be the engagement that you have from the PRE or the receptionist that sits behind the desk.
Isn't it?
And those staff from those members of staff from those schools need to really recognize that, because that could be, I mean, school fees are more than a golf club membership right over here. So that could be a lot of dirhams walking back out the door.
Yeah, that was actually one of the reasons why I started this whole podcast. When I was still teaching, there was a guy that I knew, didn't know he was coming in for a school tour, but the school tour came into my classroom. And I was like, Dwayne, fancy seeing you here. Anyway, he messaged me afterwards and he said they've just given me this school tour. The person doing the school tour wasn't a teacher. So he was like, tell me honestly what the school's about. Yeah. So his perception of the tour wasn't very good, because he thought the person giving it doesn't actually know what's going on. So then I was like, if you could give a better insight into what actually happens on tours and things like that. So in terms of a mystery shopper goes into a school, what things would they be looking out for, which then you could help improve the school?
Sure. So, I mean, a lot of it is we've got a product. It's very linked to one of our golf products called a golf membership and a leisure membership report. So if we go back a couple of steps, maybe from the actual sort of school tour itself, it's actually about doing effective research about the person, about the prospect, about the family that you're going to be meeting for that tour.
Yeah.
There's no point in just doing a generic tour, because anyone can walk into a school and say, this is the library, this is the school pit, this is the swimming pool. They're all amazing facilities, as we've said right over here. So what sets that school apart is understanding the person that's coming into that school. So I'm a family. I've got a wife. We've got 3 children that go to school over here. Obviously, when we were selecting a school, yes, location came into it for a little bit, but we ended up joining a school that we felt that the school admissions team had understood what our children liked, what we were like as parents.
Yeah.
And they focused on that and showed us relevant things when we turned up for the school tour that I'd mentioned in our application form. So my daughter likes netball. They showed us the netball courts. They didn't just give me a generic, this is the PE area.
Yeah.
My son loves rugby. They said, this is the rugby timetable that's upcoming. They didn't just show me this, we do rugby, and then move on to something else. They made it specific to me as a parent, which ultimately, if I'm happy, my children are going to probably be happy.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we do is, from mystery shopping, the criteria is developing how to learn about the family that is inquiring. And that might be changing websites. It might be changing online enrollment forms to glean more information from that prospect, rather than just going name, email, phone number, and then the admissions team going, hi, Mr. Paul, you filled in our form. How can we help? Wouldn't it be amazing if someone picked up the phone and said, hi, Mr. Ball, you filled in our online enrollment form. We understand you've got a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old that love rugby and netball. I'm blown away by that, because not only have I filled in a form, they read it. So that school is already higher in my estimations than maybe the one next door, who's just gone, hi, Mr. Ball, when can you come for a tour?
Oh, yeah, kind of not a cold call, but literally just a simple follow-up.
What's the point in having a website that says various detail with just name, email address, and other information if you're not also going to read it and then make it specific when you pick up the phone or send an email to that person. So there's that pre-tour preparation that our criteria looks at and tests. Then there's obviously the gap between making the booking for the tour and then going on the day. So it would be up to the admissions team to prep the school so it might be that the head of PE is available on that day, block that person's diary for that. Just say they might have a lesson, they might be busy, that's fine, but have something in there that they know they're on a school tour with kids that love sport.
Yeah.
And that would be really impressive, rather than meeting maybe a subject, more of an academic or math science teacher.
Yeah.
Which is obviously important. I'm not saying that's not important, but focusing on what the parent has told you my child likes suddenly elevates that experience already. And actually the school's going to sell itself because it's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's actually getting to know the prospects in the family.
Yeah, 100% agree in terms of every facility is fantastic. It'd be hard to set one against the other. But again, I've seen school tours where they come around in a big group. So you could have secondary kids, primary kids, all on the same tour.
Yep.
And then they just go into classes that teachers are teaching.
Yeah.
But then as a teacher, you're like, shit, there's 25 people standing at my door and I didn't know they were coming.
Yes, exactly. If that teacher in that room, in that hall is knows that not only that there's a tour coming in, but the makeup, the profile of that tour, that sets, and I believe that's something that can easily be done. Yeah. Everyone knows each other's timetables, everyone knows each other's schedules. Hey, Chris, you're a PE teacher, great. I'm coming in with a couple of kids in the family this morning that love this, and this. Look out for us. If you're free, it'd be great if you could say hello. And then the minute you see us, you go, oh, hi, you're the Bull family, you're the Shrubsall family. Oh, wow, welcome to the school. I really hope that's
setting you apart big time.
Setting you apart massively.
Because I've been guilty of it before. Tours have come in and you're at your desk or you're on your phone and all of a sudden you're probably doing something professional, but they're like, oh, this guy doesn't even listen to the kids. I'm going to go there.
Exactly. So, and there's a lot of, I understand the importance of meeting the SLT team is important. But ultimately, how much engagement is your child or the parent going to have with the SLT team once they actually enroll in the school? They're probably not.
Yeah.
So it's important to get to know the people they're going to see every day.
Yeah.
And where my kids go to school, I still feel that when I drop them off in the morning, the PE teachers, whoever it is, the SLT team, the geography teachers, they're all out in the playground welcoming everybody. And you can tell they don't just know my name, they know other families' names.
Yeah.
And that's creating that sense of community.
Yeah, definitely.
And that will help people be retained and stay in the school longer. Because as we know, Dubai, UAE is a very transient place.
Big time. Yeah.
You need people to stay for sure.
Yeah. And even if, say, transient place in terms of leaving the country, but even some people move schools while still being here. So do 1 year at one school, another year at another school, if that service isn't to the standard they expect.
Yeah, exactly. And we're very fortunate, as you are. We're all friends, and we've got a big group of friends over here. And often when our friends are considering moving schools, it's not necessarily about the facilities or the fees,
no,
which are high and amazing anyway, right? It's actually, do you feel the school's getting the most out of my child for what they want? Or do I feel part of the school community? Do I feel recognised rather than just a number on a list? Those are the kinds of comments I'm hearing from family and friends that go to school.
Yeah, like obviously we won't mention names, but we know 3 people off the top of my head that have moved because they've just felt like a cog in a big system. Yeah,
that's it.
So yeah, for sure. Kind of benchmarking education. Obviously hospitality, you've got some big key benchmarking. How does 59 Club help schools benchmark their service and things like that?
Yeah, so obviously from an existing kind of client base, we work with Cognita Schools group. So from a benchmarking perspective, what that does is we would do the same test at a group of schools, and then provide benchmarking across that group so that the SLT team, the corporate head office, can see how the admissions team are getting on in terms of getting to know their sort of inquiries, and then their conversions. So seeing how successful they are at converting. Now, the Cognita partnership that we've got has sort of culminated at end of last year in Q4. I actually went to do some training for all of their admissions team across all of their school groups. So we were down at their head office in the marina, and it was a fantastic couple of hours where we were talking about generation, how parents' generation is important for how you should sell to a child, whether they're Gen X, Gen Y, what the parents, what my profile of our profile of parent is looking for compared to maybe the slightly older generation of parent. What do they look at? Are they YouTube viewers? Are they Facebook viewers? What do they want to see? Do they want to have a personal one-to-one? Do they want to be doing it remotely on WhatsApp? So we will go in and train the clients on those sort of maybe higher, not just necessarily the results, but the higher level of trying to look at it from a more holistic approach to education and how to sell a school better than maybe the one next door. So the benchmarking that we do will provide our clients not just with the score across the group, but then also across the industry. So as we develop and move further into education and work with another school group, if they're using the same type of tests that we've developed with Cognita, they would be able to see how the whole industry is doing in terms of admissions and onboarding, selling.
Just give us some context. What are some of the schools that are within that group?
With Cognita?
Yeah.
So you've got the Horizon International Schools, you've got Repton, you've got RGS. So there's a wide demographic of schools.
Yeah.
Some newer to the UE, some have got, obviously, from a Repton point of view, have got some massive historical sort of legacies from when they first became school institutions in the UK.
Yeah.
And that's also a little bit of a challenge for us, because obviously we've got a big database of UAE testers over here, but we have to fit the demographic of tester to the demographic of the school.
Yeah.
Which is important, because it's important that as a mystery shopping business, our testers stay under the radar.
Yeah.
So if we're sending someone in who's a completely wrong demographic for a local school, that sends an alarm bell going. But being in the UAE, it's fortunate that we've got such a wide range of demographic of people that we've got Arabic speaking people, we've got locals in our database, we've got people from Russia, people from Ukraine, US, all over, that if a school group have a higher demographic than another, we'd like to think we can sort of cater to and also the age profile as well. So if someone said to us, we need parents from 40 to 45 with children of X age, we can dip into our database and find them.
So talk to me a bit about the Cognito partnership. How did that relationship come about?
So it was through a tester, actually. So we were identifying different areas to go into, different markets, and over here, as I said earlier, we've got a limited number of golf clubs to attack over here. So what other industries? So reached out to a couple of people in our network of testers, and we started to develop, similar to the golf membership product, started to develop what is the perfect admissions process for a school. And Cognita were great. They gave us some of their stuff, and then we linked it to what they wanted to check internally, and then we added some of what our industry, and they were great because they were really open about wanting to learn from other industries as well.
Yeah.
How do golf sell their memberships? As I said earlier, it's a very competitive market as well. So there's a lot of learning both sides, and we got to sort of this finished product of 50, 60 questions, and it started from working with corporate marketing team and admissions team on how quickly did someone get back to them, right? So filling in the turnaround time. How quickly did that person get back to you? How available were the team? And we just initially started off with 3 or 4 trial tests at the schools. I think the first round of tests, they didn't necessarily tell their schools.
Okay.
Which was a conversation we'd had, because, as I said at the start, it's nice to just have a baseline. And the key to us is we're not, it's a bit cheesy, but we're a mystery shopping company, but we don't want to be a mystery shopper. We don't want to be a mystery to our clients.
Yeah.
We want to get to know the school team.
Yeah.
We want to help them get better and be more efficient. And obviously everything's really, everything's time sensitive at the moment over here. The UAE is such a fast paced place. So that's the key, to working with us. We don't just sort of send a report and go, right, there you go, good luck with the next one.
Yeah.
It's bridging that gap to work out. I think that's where Cognita liked what we were doing, and the way we approached mystery shopping. And then the next phase, everyone knew that we did mystery shopping, right? And then what happened there is we started to see a little bit of competitiveness amongst the schools to say, have you had a test yet? How did you get on? How's your conversions going? This kind of thing, in a good way, not in a negative way.
Yeah. But numbers on the board, Wolf of Wall Street stuff.
Yeah. It started to kind of be, and that's what I learned from the training I did at the end of last year. It was really engaging. The team were firing ideas across from different schools. They weren't just working in their own schools. They were firing things. What do you do at your school? What do you do? How do you approach this? And that for me was like, well, this is it now. We're now part of.
Because within that environment as well, you've probably got different price points. So it's good that they can share ideas, tips, tricks that have worked for them that they could use themselves. Yeah,
exactly. And there's a case to be had that you might be doing a school tour at one price point school or one type of school, and you've identified that family doesn't quite fit there, but you've got another school within the
You can send them across.
that you can send them across to.
Yeah.
And we identified a few things that sort of said, well, you didn't mention that there's a school down the road that they could go to.
Yeah.
So you let them leave, and they could just go over the road to another school group.
Yeah.
That's not part of your group anymore.
Yeah.
We could have we could have moved them across to that school, and then ultimately your stats showing corporate office that they're not just thinking about their school, they're thinking about the wider group.
Do admissions teams work on commission? Do you know of?
I think some do. I wouldn't. I try to. One of our mantras is reward.
Yeah.
Some of the rewards come from us in terms of sort of congratulations and awards that we do at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Sort of commission and bonus structures. We would maybe recommend what other industries are doing. I wouldn't really know what some do and what some don't. Maybe.
I mean, American, like, obviously real estate only work on commission.
Yeah.
So in terms of there's a base and whatever, but I don't know, just intrigued. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it was great when Cognita came on board because it just showed the membership product that we've got, and the criteria can move across into that. And I think the key is it's that a lot of our owners and operators are saying the same message that we are saying when we come in and train, but it really validates what they're saying themselves on a daily basis to their team if a third party comes in and actually says it as well.
Yeah.
So that's where that whole sort of circle of our service comes in. We'll speak to maybe the contract owner, right? The person that wants to get us in and work with them, understand what they want to learn and what they want to know about their team and maybe about other competitors. Then we throw in some of our other industry expertise from our criteria and some of our results and industry benchmarking. That's us creating a product and starting that relationship.
Yeah.
Then it's about really getting into the culture of the school, of the golf club, of the leisure club, and understanding how do you operate? Well, we operate alongside the 59 club criteria and SOP process that we can help create.
Yeah.
We're not saying we're the oracle and we don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
But we've got lots of industry expertise around the world and a platform that allows us to develop and build a very strong criteria and product that everyone can buy into and everyone can learn from and develop their customer service and sales journeys.
You mentioned just one more bit. You mentioned a bit there about learning from your competitor. If a school here, for example, Ranchers 2 came to you and they wanted to know a bit about the competitor Fairgreen, but you had nothing to do with Fairgreen, would you then send a mystery shopper to Fairgreen to get more context about Ranchers 2?
We offer that service.
Okay, interesting.
We would offer, so exactly that. So a school group would come to us and say, well, we want you to measure our school.
Yeah.
But we also want you to go down the road and measure this journey.
Well, that's probably the most valuable information because if its location is decided, like when I worked in Jamaica as a triangle, you had Arcadia and you had Sunmark, stone's throw from each other. And it was normally like a coin flip between the two of them. So yeah, valuable information.
It's obviously education is a newish market for us to dive into. From a golf perspective, going back to the education bit, I would always try and recommend the leadership, the SLT, the corporate approach their competitor and say, hey, look, we're working with this company, a third party who are providing this industry benchmarking. We should all jump on board.
Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, and that actually helps us because we're not then saying, oh, we're going to go and
transparent.
Exactly. I want to be fully transparent and help, which ultimately is what we want to do.
Yeah.
And from a golf perspective, the membership product we do for golf and leisure and the golf visitor experience, there's a real healthy competition amongst everybody. I mean, we do an annual awards ceremony. It's coming up on the 12th of February, down at Dubai Creek Resort. So we bring all the golf industry together every February or March, and we provide bronze, silver, gold flags for levels of service.
Yeah.
Now, we believe it's a strong belief within 59 Club because we use non-subjective criteria and we don't just test once in a year, we test up to 6 times a year across all of our clubs, that it's a really good kind of cross-section of how everyone's service is being delivered.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to get if they won a silver last year, they want to know how they can get a gold this year. And it's a really nice industry evening, getting everybody together. But it is competitive, but in a healthy competition way, because everyone knows we test everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone can see how they're doing on our transparent league table as a group and as an industry and as a podium on our platform. They can't see individual scores. So Dubai Greek Golf Club can't see how Emirates Golf Club are doing. They can see an overall industry score and choose certain competitors to be compared by as a competitor set. So we wouldn't obviously sort of reveal any individual scores, but it is that competitiveness. And that's where I want to get the education sort of sector over here, is to go, look, you've got so many skilled, really lovely people in your schools. Let's get them a little bit better in terms of how they research and how they sell your school. And then let's learn from each other and go, how are that group over there really converting that many schools? Yeah. And ultimately, that can only help. We've seen it help the UAE golf industry use some of our data to shout to tour operators to go, hey, come and play golf over here, because we've got 9 of the 17 gold flag venues around the world are in our city.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's helping Dubai tourism. That's helping all of golf in Dubai. It's helping the hotel industry. So if the industry come together and identify where we're really good, where they're really good, you can use that to get more big schools built over here, more people coming to the city in the UAE. So it's that's the vehicle that's the vehicle we are for golf. It's a case of now there's so many transferable skills.
Yeah, that's the next step. It's about education.
Yeah.
Nice. Do school fees play obviously the schools you mentioned there, the price points are very different across some of them. Do you find that the admissions team need different things depending on the type of school?
Yeah, I would 100%. I would go back. That's kind of where we were leaning towards in the training we did at the end of last year. Is see, we had everyone in the room, so it didn't matter whether they were a high fee school or a lower fee school. Ultimately, it doesn't really, from our perspective, it doesn't really matter.
No,
it's about understanding what the parent wants, understanding what the child wants.
Yeah,
almost forget the fee. Everyone can see the fees. Yeah, everyone go on the website and go, "What's the school fees of Repton?" They're there, right? So almost forget that and get to know that parent or that child as a human being, rather than just a dirham note on their head.
Yeah,
because that's how you will build a relationship with that person.
Yeah,
it's about how you make friends, right? In the UAE, we're all here as expats. Our home is somewhere else.
Yeah, it's all relationships.
We've had to. Me and you've got to know each other. How many years ago it was?
Yeah,
through a friend of a friend, and played golf and that kind of thing. And you often ask the same 3 questions: where's home?
Yeah,
what do you do? And how long have you been here?
Yeah,
right. It's those 3 questions that you would ask when you're in a bar in Dubai, or on a golf course, or meeting in a school playground. So that it's almost stripping it completely back and saying, how do you speak to people?
Yeah.
And then how can you identify what that person likes that is relatable to what you can offer as a school?
Yeah.
And it sounds simple, but often gets missed because it is such a challenging, competitive market in education, and people are tasked with bums on seats. Get people in the classroom. How many are there? Okay, I get that, but let's do a little bit more work potentially in the background, correct work and targeted work on research and prospects, which actually you'll end up with more people in the classroom because hey, that admissions person was amazing. I'm going to go to that school.
I feel like schools are sometimes tarnished with a bad brush with the bums on seats thing, because yes, they're businesses as well, but they're ultimately still run by teachers, and teachers have only gone into it with that educational mindset.
Yeah.
So the bums on seats thing, is kind of a prerequisite. But like you said there's so many people that get to know your kids so well, and they've got their best interests at heart. Mm-hmm. That should be the front and foremost of it, for me anyway.
Yeah.
Then the bums on seats is just, that's the educational model we've got really in Dubai, isn't it?
And I think that this is how we've related it, or how I've related it back to some of the training I've done from a golf perspective. Is I got into golf, and my colleagues and friends in the golf industry got into golf because we loved golf.
Yeah.
Then we became part of the industry, and we were tasked with running events and selling memberships, which is effectively the same as running a day at school and selling school fees, right? So what makes you and I've made this mistake back in the UK when I was at Celtic Manor. I was in charge of memberships and looking after some membership renewals, and I started to see it as just a job, right? So I thought, I've got a couple of membership tours today. I'm just going to go and show the random bits. And you forget that that person is coming in looking at a venue and go, oh, wow, this is amazing. So there's a certain amount of sort of excitement on that person.
Yeah.
And that's the same excitement I had before I started working in the industry.
Yeah.
But because you work in the industry, you just see it as going to work every day. It's actually trying to remember why you got into it in the first place. And that's linked to teachers, right? And if you know that teaching is an amazing thing to get into, you wanted to get into teaching because you wanted to help kids learn and grow. Well, that remember that passion that you had to get into it in the first place.
Yeah.
Try and show that more. That will ultimately probably say,
definitely,
before you actually say anything. So the mannerisms, the body language that you're using when you're in the classroom, when you see a tour coming, even the admissions teams, if they're buzzing to be working in these amazing venues, then if they can portray that, and that's what I do. I do a lot of training at golf clubs over the last sort of year. That you kind of strip it back and go, hey, what's the 5 or 6 best things about working at Emirates Golf Club or Jumeirah Golf Estates, right? And they list them all off. Host venue of a major tournament. We get to meet Rory McIlroy. We get to work on a golf course that Tiger Woods has won round 5 times or whatever it is. And I go, how many times do you think of that on your daily basis when you're at work? Oh, never, because I'm just at work.
Yeah.
Try and think of that and look how your mood changes. That will then be portrayed onto the guests, and then that ultimately means they have a better time as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by sort of transferable. I see a lot of that going into various schools over here.
Yeah. And then in terms of going back, you're saying do a lot of training. You do training with admissions, but I would say once you're from a teacher perspective, once you had that tour, you don't really see the admissions team again. It's more the SLT teachers you see. What kind of training do you do with the SLT within schools? Or you're not as much with them?
Not as much yet with them.
Yeah.
It's actually getting that sort of bridging the gap between those two. So I probably haven't, obviously I've not worked in a school, but I've not had that from first hand. I can only sort of go on maybe what people, ex-colleagues have worked in schools have had, where there's potentially a divide between, right, it's the admissions team's job to sell. It's then the SLT's job to look after the children and the parents once they're in.
Yeah.
You know? And it's about understanding each other's roles. And again, I keep harking back to golf, but it's very similar to a membership team.
Yeah.
They sell a golf membership, and then it's up to the operations team to make sure that member's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, but also they need to understand each other's roles to say, well, what has the admissions team said and how have they sold this school to make sure that the SLT team back that up?
Yeah.
Right. So there needs to be a conversation around what are the USPs of this school? What are the USPs of this golf club? How are we going to make sure we retain these families and these members at a club, at a school?
Yeah.
To do that, to bridge that sort of gap between how are you selling, what are you selling, and how are you delivering?
Yeah.
Because if there's a disconnect, then you're not going to get those renewals and a better reputation and that's where we will come in as well. We would recommend using some of our data, maybe some of the higher scores and some of the better comments that come from it.
Yeah.
Using that in marketing collateral to sell their school. Say, look, we're not only saying it ourselves, we've got a third party mystery shopper that's come in using non-subjective data points, and they've said we are this and we are delivering this. That's supporting the overall sort of sales process.
Not linked to anything educational or golf. Has a mystery shopper ever been caught out for mystery shopping in your time? Like someone
as in identified?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of times.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
They have to, we do, we vet everybody that comes in. So it works. You sign up on our website, and then we get your details. We might do a Facebook check. We'll do a LinkedIn profile check to make sure that you are who you say you are. And then
you can't do mystery shopping in schools if you don't have any kids, I'd say.
No, correct. Yeah, there is that challenge. But yeah, we've had, and obviously Dubai, UAE is such a small place.
Yeah,
lots of people know each other.
Yeah.
You know, to a certain extent, most of our clients are happy for their staff to know that we do the mystery shopping. They don't know when we're going to do it. They might know the month, but they don't know the day or the time or anything like that. That would be too much. It'd be pointless using us if that's the case. But yeah, we've had a couple of funny examples where they didn't know that someone had moved schools.
Okay.
Or a family member, they were friends, and the person doing the tour didn't know that this family wanted that parent to move schools, and they didn't, because they were a mystery shopper. So yeah, obviously those are null and void, and we repeat those tests.
Just all part of the journey. Yeah. Mystery shopping in itself, you said there you can sign up through your website. Anyone can sign up. What's the process?
Yeah, anyone can sign up. The more the merrier. Obviously, we are anywhere between sort of 250 to 300 tests that we do across all the industries each month. So obviously we need a lot of mystery shoppers. We've got around 620 testers at the moment in the database. But we try to rotate and make sure everyone has as much opportunity to test as possible. It can be a challenge because some of our experiences are really nice. Like sort of some really nice restaurants, some really nice spas to go and test. So they kind of go off the list first. But we try and rotate as much as we can to give people. That's right. We try and touch everyone with training that's relevant. So if it's their first test in something, either myself or one of the team will sort of reach out and do a quick training session with them to understand, so that they understand what it is. Some of it, people will do a test, our golf membership tests, our golf visitor experience tests. They're quite labor intensive. After yes, you get a great opportunity to go and play these amazing courses and do a nice membership tour, but it can take up to 3 or 4 hours after the experience to complete the form. So some people will do one and go,
that's not for me.
I'm okay, thanks.
And then what's the benefits they get from being a mystery shopper?
So you get to, if you're a golf visitor experience tester, you get to go and play some of the best golf courses. It's a very subjective comment. I could put my
with that comment. I'm the tester
from mystery shopping. So you get to play not just yourself, but you can take up to 3 guests to play some of the amazing golf courses over here. Fill in a report, and then we reimburse the expenses, less a small admin fee that we charge the guests. So ultimately, it's a nice game of golf with some lunch and breakfast thrown in, because our golf visitor experience covers every touch point. It's the minute you arrive to the minute you leave, including retail, locker rooms, S&B. And
I would still say the bag drop guys are still the nicest people on golf courses by a long way.
Yes, they are. Hopefully that's because they've been trained by us. So you get to do that. The restaurant tests, the spa tests, 29 question survey to fill in after the experience, just to base around the transaction, some of the customer feedback for it. But again, it's not subjective, so it's not a case of, we know when you've just clicked through, click, and not really bothered because you think it's a nice free experience. Well, we've got our checks in place that we check every single report that comes to us before it goes to a client. Because ultimately the service we deliver, we're a customer service.
It's a reflection on you.
We're only as good as our mystery shoppers are. So they have to have a good eye for detail. They have to be sort of good with deadlines, because we are committed to finishing all our reports within a given month, to make sure the benchmarking works across the industry. And our golf and leisure clients, they use the reports that we provide, they use for their KPIs for their team, for their training plans for forthcoming years. So there's a lot resting on some of the data that we identify.
And then if you want to be a mystery shopper, I can put the details of 59 Club in the show notes this today. So get on that if you want to do that. But Mark Ball, 59 Club, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Really, really interesting conversation. Thanks again for coming on. This episode you can watch now on YouTube, which is very exciting. Maybe I have to watch on Spotify. I'm not sure if my digital capabilities can get to that. But big improvements on the podcast this year. So thanks again for coming on.
That's for Brilliant, Chris. Thank you very much.
So my name is Chris Shrubsole. I'm the host of School Talk. As always, if you like it or think someone might be interested, share it and we'll continue to grow. Bye for now.